Good morning from Tokyo. I woke up super early this morning to gather all sorts of images for my upcoming show in Shibuya at Gallery Conceal. It starts May 21st, runs through the 26th. I am super amped and I just want to run through some of the places that I went to, how I edited them, and just sort of what they mean to me. So instead of displaying my black and white film photography, it'll be all digital this time. It still will be black and white, and they will be in white sort of shallow shadow box frames. I chose white frames so that they didn't distract from the images. And I wanted to sort of roll through some of the places, how I edited the images, and why I went to these places. They're just really significant to me in more ways than one, and wanted to talk about them. So if you can't make it to the show, you'll be able to see here what I'm potentially going to be displaying. I think I will hang 12 pieces, maybe 18. I haven't decided. It depends on the amount of space I have at the gallery. So I'm still waiting on confirmation on that. So let's roll through a little bit of what I will be hanging at Gallery Conceal May 21st through the 26th. This image was taken in Takeshita-dori. It was basically, I don't know, almost midnight, and usually there's just hordes and hordes of tourists, and there's a lot going on. And this little sort of shopping way, looks like an alley almost, is always open. There's lots of stalls out with things on display. And I saw this guy walking down, and I just needed to capture that. All these great lines leading to him, and everything closed. It's sort of like this weird juxtaposition from a normal day in Harajuku. This image was cool. I was having lunch with my friend Eiji, and these gals came up to this little display where you could pop your head through and take a photo, fun, haha. And it was just a cool moment. You know, being a street photographer, finding those moments that you're never going to see again are super cool. And this is definitely one of those times. This is from a photo walk from Harajuku, walking north a little bit under the tracks. It's sort of sectioned off in, the top, middle, and bottom in this image. And when she walked through there, I was like, very, very cool moment. And this is shot in one of my favorite areas of Tokyo called Roppongi. This is sort of looking down from this big water display down to sort of like this basement level where there's a bunch of shopping, and this girl was just on her phone or doing something, and the clouds up above, there's got, this, very cool sort of round object and these hard edges of the structures, in the reflection. Definitely something that I enjoy looking for. This is a little difficult to edit. It was very sort of, sort of the midtones took control. So I tried lightening up her as much as possible, adding a little bit of texture to hit those extreme white points on the edges a little bit to bring her out. So anyway, I really like this photo a lot. My buddy Parin and I took a photo walk to Akasaka one day, and there's this staircase going up from the street, sort of like up a few different levels, and the sun was just hitting perfectly. I probably banged off about 30 photos, and when this gal was walking down, it just hit the back of her head, and everything just hit right perfectly. She's got this glow, and around the foreground, I definitely darkened that up. There was a lot of reflective light sort of lighting up where you can see sort of these air conditioner units back there. I darkened that up quite a bit to sort of not detract from her, and I just love the way this turned out. I was out with Alex Munoz one day in Shinjuku, and there's a smoking area, and it's really cold, and the wind's going. I'm taking photos of the people's sort of shadows, and this girl walks around, and boom, just caught her with the wind, and it's got this, once again, this really great backlit image. And not a whole lot was done to edit this piece except for bumping up the contrast on that shadow there. And just another really cool moment that, once again, you're never going to see. And Tokyo is a great spot to get moments like this. Ginza is always really cool, especially on the weekends. They close off one of the major roads and you can walk around, and there was a photo shoot going on of like jewelry or some clothing or I can't really figure it out, but I wanted to sort of break this image almost in half, and I try to sneak my wife into images in some of the shows. So here she is walking by in the reflection. Just a really cool scene. It was just, I don't know, highlight of my day. I probably banged off about 30 photos of what was happening. It was pretty cool. I don't remember exactly where this was, but I noticed this sort of circular plate with the bowls on top and the circular window with the chefs doing their thing. I brought down the exposure of this image in editing and then kept them exposed properly in the circular window. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. I really, I like the composition here. This is a really cool moment. High shutter speed with the bus going by, and I can't believe I snagged the photo of Grandpa yawning. It's just 1 in a million, I think. This is at Tokyo Midtown. The architecture around there is very, very cool. And when I walked through these doors into this sort of hallway, this causeway, this lady was almost at the end, and this leading lines right to her were absolutely perfect. I really didn't edit this photo very much, and it was sort of one of the reasons why I dig going to this area. And this is Omoide Yokocho in Shinjuku. It's a super touristy hotspot. It's Instagram paradise, but you want to know, like, it's so saturated with photography, with people's phones. You can see it everywhere on Instagram. So if I have to go there, I try to find a different scene, and this is one of them. I'm looking through during lunchtime where there are only a few places open, and the lighting was pretty good since it was, during the day. I can see down this line of a couple different lunch spots, one being empty, providing this great light, sort of into another lunch space. And these people were dining there. I probably took about 3 or 4 images trying to get the guy like looking down, like not in his noodles or whatever it was. And I thought this was broken up into sections really well in the frame. I'm super pumped about this photo. I really, really like the composition a lot. And this is how I shot it. I was just walking by, sort of not from my hip, but maybe from like my shoulder area, knowing that she was standing there with these cool boots. And I really like this little sign with an arrow going right to her. These lines, once again, are just going right to this subject matter. I really love everything about the texture. Super cool. My buddy Rico and I will often go out, and this particular time we were in Shinjuku, and there's, on the north side, we were shooting in sort of like these grimy, gritty sort of alleyways, sort of pockets in between buildings, and this one scene where this light was sort of coming on as we walked by just lit up this bike and this whole space really, really well. It looks cool in color, but I like it also in black and white. This is in Daikanyama, sort of on one of the main drags there, and there's some construction going on, and these fellas were looking from this sort of like bridge, this skywalk area, looking down into the construction, assessing what was happening. And I just thought, man, this is a complete album cover. When is it dropping? And there was a lot of reflective light off to the right, so the shadows were darkened, and I wanted to make sure that, I don't know, just sort of had a little bit of contrast going on there. There are certain times when I actually sort of wait around for the shot. I don't do that very often, but sometimes something captures, my interest, and seeing this shirt in a boutique's window was really, really odd, and I wanted to get somebody walking by in a perfect area where I did not see their face. It was actually really difficult. And I don't know, I feel like this sort of, how do you say, like anonymous thing happening here. I thought it was creepy. And the lady who owns the boutique was inside, and she thought it was cool. And I showed her the image, and we all had a chuckle, and it was cool moment. And I love shooting in Tokyo because you never know how people are going to react. It's a very sort of closed off society when it comes to photography, I believe. So getting in people's faces really isn't my thing. So when I can sort of have this sort of subjective imagery, it really hits for me. And I hope you dug what you saw. And if you come to Tokyo in the latter part of May, I hope to see you at the show at Gallery Conceal in Shibuya. There's going to be some very, very cool photographers there. Come on by and we'll have a chat, pick up some art, and, we'll have a good time. So thanks for dropping by.